Okay, what are you saying, people, and welcome back to another live stream. Now, before we get into this today, make sure you join me on my Telegram channel. Left a link to that in the live chat and also the description below. Posting a lot of different trading setups there throughout the week, and you don't be missing out on that. So make sure you go check all of that out. But like I said, guys, got another live stream for you. Going to talk you through what's happening in the charts today. So you've got no opportunities coming our way, and yeah, just see what's happening with the markets today. So I'm going to start with ADUSD as normal. You can see with this pair we've had a big push to the upside towards the end of last week. Again, if you did watch my weekly analysis videos, I think we're favouring buys for this week. I think we can be seeing more upside potential for this pair, and looking on the daily, I do think we can come back to highs around 0.8, which is this level all the way up here. I do think ADUSD is on its way to around that level. It looks like currently we're getting a bit of retrace to the downside, which is expected after the big push we had over Friday. Again, NFP coming, helping that move to the upside come around. So we do have previous resistance for ADUSD around this level here, around the 0.78 mark. Again, key level of resistance that will be turned support for this pair. So if we do have any rejection of this level, potentially could be opportunities to go along and capture a nice swing trade to the upside for this pair, because I do believe ADUSD is on its way up now. What I was saying with a lot of USD pairs, a lot of USD weakness we do expect to see in these charts. So again, that could help ADUSD, Euro USD, GBP USD, NZD USD, all those pairs to go back to their highs, and maybe even further and see some new highs after that. So again, bias for ADUSD is very much to the upside. Looking at the 4-hourly chart, hourly we had a nice push to the upside there. Preferably I would like to see this pull back a little bit further for my liking to come and test that 0.78 mark, go and retest that, show me some rejection, and then I could look for buys. Even though the price action is looking a little bit bullish here, I probably want that price action to move a little bit lower to come and test that level first, and then I can look for some entries around there to capitalize on the continuation to the upside for AUSD, because again, I do think these pairs are on their way up. Euro USD is similar for that pair. Again, not much retracement that we've seen over the course of Monday and slightly coming into today. You can see we had this big push to the upside again, NFP giving us some new highs just above this area here in the market. So some new highs, and we again want to see some retracement. It would be nice to see Euro USD push down to around this level here in the market. Key level of support resistance, as you can see, resistance, resistance, support, support, resistance, resistance there again. So if we can push to around 1.20678, that will be a great price to look to buy at, and expect to see a continuation to the higher high price, because I do feel like Euro USD is on its way up still. Again, similar for AUD/USD, but again, want to see some bit more retracement from these pairs. Again, we've had that push to the downside yesterday, and now price has retraced its way back up again. So hopefully we see another move to the downside after that, coming back down a lot lower. Maybe see a bit of a double top there potentially. Of course, price can still go on and create some new highs after this, but it's just that I won't be looking to get involved in that move just yet. I want to see a bit deeper retracement, then can look to get involved in Euro USD on its way up. Again, similar for AUD/USD, just a little bit more retracement. GBP/USD just flew to the upside again. Again, I have a little small position there. I'm going to close that, but we had a massive push to the upside for this pair. Again, yesterday didn't really give us any chance to get involved. Looking at the hourly time frame, as you can see there, not much chance to get involved. So price overall looking still very very bullish, expecting it to get back to 1.42. You can see on the daily we're looking very bullish. Looks like all of this price action we had there in the market was just big accumulation, basically build up before we had that big push to the upside back to around 1.42, maybe even higher. Do expect to see GBP/USD around 1.43 or maybe even 1.44 very soonish. So I do feel like GBP/USD, again, although USD pairs, apart from that USD CAD or USD JPY, which I do expect to see falling to the downside, pairs like GBP/USD, AUD/USD, EUR/USD, again, should be going up if we do get the correct price action. But right now we've had this big push, want to see a little bit more retracement, and then we could look to expect to see a bigger push to the upside after that. So expecting to see a nice push to the upside for GBP/USD, but again want to see that retracement first, again maybe to around 1.4 area, really key level of resistance that will be turning support. So around this area here, 1.4, if it could make its way down there, could open some buys and look to hold that trade a little bit longer and capitalize on the bigger move there for GBP/USD. USD CAD, this pair again still very, very bearish here. Again, it's just been falling to the downside since last week really, or maybe even the week before that. Again, hasn't really given much opportunities here on the 4H, maybe on the lower time frames like hourly, 30 minutes for those pullbacks to the downside. Has given us a few of those opportunities there. Right now USD CAD is just moving sideways, so I'm not seeing too much opportunities for entries here for USD CAD. My bias is still to the downside for this pair, so not really looking to get involved in any buys for USD CAD. So not really interested in taking this higher, but again, not sure if I want to take it lower either, because we just had this big dump to the downside recently on the H4. You can see price was very corrective, and then it's just kind of spilled over. So I want to see some major retracement before looking to get involved for USD CAD. And again, could potentially see a lot more downside potential for this pair, but I want to see a lot more retracement after that for USD CAD. USD CHF, this pair again expecting to roll over to the downside. Looking at the 4H, looking at the hourly, it's looking like it's turning a little bit bullish there with those past few candles pushing to the upside, breaking through that resistance there. But again, nothing to get me interested in this pair. I'm not sure if you guys are looking to trade it, because my bias is very much to the downside for a lot of these USD pairs. With the USD in front, obviously if it's like Euro USD, again bias is to the upside. But if USD CHF does push up, again will be another opportunity to look for sells, I believe, for this pair. And you can see with the trend anyway as well, very much to the downside as well. We do expect to see a slight push to the upside after that push we had last week, but again the pair can do whatever it's want really. So just going to be patient, stay on my toes, and see if we can get that push to the upside and then capitalize on the further continuation to the downside there. Looking at NZD/USD, again want to see some more tracement for that pair. Again, NFP did create some new highs there just above this wick here in the market, so price was looking quite bullish end of last week, creating some new highs, pushing up further. Again, we saw a bearish candle on the 4H coming down quite nicely, but again I want to see a bit more retracement than that, and similar price action to AUSD, but consolidation looks like it's trying to poke its head above that area there as well. So for USD, again, another USD pair, I want to see a lot more retracement to the downside first, and then could look to capitalize on a move to the upside again for this pair. So gonna stay on my toes, stay patient, and see if we can get some nice retracement coming in, because again, looking to capture those swings in the market. Potentially could be looking to sell this pair, maybe if we come back, test that resistance, and then see another further retracement to the downside. But again, not really looking to get involved in that trade just yet for USD. So again, like I said, most of my bias for these pairs is to the upside, so not really looking to get involved in those shorts. But if we do come a little bit lower to around this area here, where we had that last support, kind of around 0.72264, we'll be looking to get involved in some buys there, and potentially take this one a lot higher for USD. But again, no opportunity for me at this moment in time. Next, going to take a look at GBJPY. So GBJPY for this one, again, another GBP pair that we saw kind of take off yesterday, kind of soon as market opened, really on Sunday. The market just kind of took off from there. Again, not really anything for me to get involved on. I'm looking at hourly, the 4H, and you can see prices still looking quite bullish right now, consolidating a little bit there on that hourly, so we could see a break to the upside or a break down. Again, you can see that we do have this consolidation. The last candle that closed had a really nice wick to the downside, pull back up, showing a little bit of rejection there, a little bit more bullish intent, but not really looking to get involved there for GBJPY. I do believe we created some new highs. Yes, as you can see, we did push through those previous highs there on the daily, so price is still looking very bullish. Did tap into around 154 area, which was the target for my weekly analysis. We did expect to see, if we did see a breakout of this range here in the market, so of that resistance just above us, if we did see a break of that resistance, we were definitely expecting to see price push to the highs, and if we do push the highs, likely to 154 after that. So I think next target for GBJPY is 155. I'm not sure if you can go past that, because it is a very key monthly resistance actually, so we're coming into very key areas here for GBJPY, but I do think we can hit 155, and after that we might see some bigger retracement there for GBJPY. Another GBP pair, GBPCHF, again another big push to the upside. As you can see, was trading this one a couple weeks back, or a week ago, about a couple of weeks back I think, looking for a move to the upside there. Didn't really break through that resistance that I was looking to break. It came right down, so I exited the trade, came back down to retest that area, and as you can see, it is now breaking through that same resistance here in the market. So if I just highlight that same area, numerous wicks in that area, it looks like we just had a break through that. So price right now for GBCHF, again, still looking very bullish. Again, if I just zoom out a bit, you can see the market's had this big push to the downside. This is very consolidative, very choppy price action, but it does look like we're slightly turning bullish here. For GBCHF, looks like we're gradually turning bullish here. We just had that big push to the upside, breaking through that key level. If that does hold as support now, I do expect to see a continuation to the upside for this pair actually, and potentially go a lot further. You're right, high vibes. I'll take a look at EURUSD now. Okay, so yeah, like I said, EURUSD again still looking bullish here. I did want to see a little bit more retracement to the downside. I did highlight this key level here, this resistance, support, resistance around 1.20678. So this level here, I wanted to see EURUSD fall to the downside to come and test this area. It still well could, but right now, looking at that 1 hourly time frame, we're still looking quite bullish there. So again, my bias very much for this pair is still very much to the upside, looking at the higher time frames and coming much lower. I think EURUSD is still on its way up, so not really too interested in for sells, and if it do any sells, it's got to be very short-term sells, because I do feel like the bigger moves are definitely to the upside. So if you do see buying opportunities, can look to capitalize on them quite well for EURUSD, and maybe hold on for them a little bit longer, because I feel like the higher time frames are very much to the upside, and they look like they're coming into play now. So again, looking for those buys for Euro USD. It's coming back to those highs up there. So I do want to see price action fall again one more time to the downside, coming into around this area here. Again, around 1.20678. And if we do get some bullish price action around there, we'll definitely be looking to buy to the upside and see if we can hit around 1.22 and maybe even higher than that as next targets for Euro USD. Yeah, so I'll take a look at AD CAD. So yeah, looking for a move to the upside for this pair again on the 4H time frame. So yeah, I did put this in the Telegram just now. So again, for AD CAD, if I start on the daily for this one, you can see we've had a big push to the downside recently. Overall, we were in a bullish trend. This looks to be either the start of a bearish trend or continuation of the bullish trend, and just had a big retracement. So, which is what I'm favoring for AD CAD. You can see we've come back to this key level here in the market. We did see a lot of bullish momentum come into the market, which is this key level here. As you can see, if I just zoom in on the daily just a little bit and take this across, you can see for AD CAD on the daily, we came up, retested this area, found a lot of bullish momentum, and really took off to the upside from that level. So now we'll come back into it. You can see we're starting to stall after that big push to the downside, and looking to capitalize on that level there and see if you can get a really nice reaction to the upside. Looking at the 4-hourly time frame, you can see with this pair, I'll just zoom in. You can see with this pair, we've had a nice push to the upside recently. I believe last week we had this nice push breaking through some levels in the market. So if I zoom in again, you can see we broke through this level here in the market. So previous resistance, we broke through that, and we also broke through this resistance here as well in the market. So the market is looking quite bullish there when we did break through those levels. So looking for a bit of retrace, give us a high low there in the market, and we're tapping into this area here. I just bring this back across. We're tapping back into this area here in the market. Really nice area where we did see that injection to the upside. So looking to capitalize on that move. We've come back to test it. We've just had a nice engulfing candle there on the H4. So looking to see if we can get that continuation to the upside. And if this setup does play out, potentially we may have just caught the bottom of this move, so we could actually see a big push to the upside. And again, if you don't want to take your position off too quickly and leave a little bit on, you could maybe see this trade trickle on a lot further, because again, if this is the bottom, we've had the push to the upside, push to the downside there, pushed up, kind of correctly fell to the downside, then we saw injection of bullish momentum there, a lot stronger than that. Then we've come back down to retest that area where that momentum came, and we had that bullish engulfing, and looking to get a nice higher low formation there, and stop loss just below this level, taking advantage of that push to the upside. So if we do hold this, I do think AD CAD can move a lot higher to the upside. Again, first targets will be around this area here in the market, around this area here where we saw a lot of kind of struggle to break through this level. So resistance, support. So first target will be around 0.96, 445. So see if we can get a nice push into that level there, and then maybe even potentially higher or something like that. Yeah, sure. I'll let you know if I take partials. I want to take profit as well. So yeah, target will be there, but again, I probably will be taking profit. If this does play out, we'll be taking profit before that target there. So yeah, I will let you know in the Telegram group chat when I do take partials. But yeah, looking for a move to the upside. If it does play out, we could see a nice move of around 150 pips. So it does have a lot of upside potential if it does play out. And again, I will be taking some profit before I get there as I go along, so I will let you guys know in the Telegram when I do that. But yeah, the trade's kind of just started now. Just going to see how it plays out and see if you can get a move back into that level. Potentially could go farther than that, so I might leave a little bit to trickle on if we do get to that stage. But again, we'll see what happens with this trade. But yeah, definitely looking to take advantage of this push to the upside for AD CAD. Looking at some other AUD pairs, so AUD-JPY, this pair again, similar to AUD CAD, as we both have the AUD in it, and I'm definitely expecting to see more continuation to the upside for AUD-JPY. You can see here on the day you have very corrective price action. I think it's all just building up for one big move that we're going to have to the upside, which is what I'm expecting. Obviously we could see something, the price action just changes and we see a reversal, but as of speaking right now, price action looks very bullish from the daily. The weekly coming to the 4 hourly looks like it's going to be tracing slightly, but again the higher time frames are pointing very much to the upside. So again, if AUD CAD does pull back down, see some retracement, AUD-JPY, sorry, does pull back down, see some retracements, definitely a good pair to look to buy and capitalize on some swings there to the upside. Right now AUD-JPY seems to be kind of consolidating a little bit on the hourly, so again not very clear price action right now, so we can let that develop a little bit more, then see if we can get a nice potential trade later. We do have this level here, which will be a nice level to look to buy from. Previous resistance turned support and also had a really nice area of demand there, so around 85,001, so potentially could be a nice area to look to buy from and capitalize on a nice move to the upside for AUD-JPY. So definitely bias is to the upside for that pair. GPNZD, so we'll take a look at that pair right now. Okay, so GPNZD for this pair again does look like a good sell, actually looking at this from the 4H time frame. Again, so we've got that support just below us here. That price is obviously failing to break through, but we are still forming lower highs here in the market, so which is definitely a point to keep in mind. So even from here you can see we're pushing to the downside, creating lower highs in the market, so push, pull back, push, pull back, push, pull back, creating lower highs, and then obviously we're keeping that formation going but not breaking through that support. And you can see there's our high there, push the downside, lower high there, push the downside, potentially lower high there as well. So if that is the lower high there in the market, also got the confidence of the 200 moving average there as well. But if we do hold that, potentially GPNZD could fall all the way back down to that support around 1.91870. So if we do hold that area, and again if your stop loss is just above I would say that previous swing high there in the market, then yeah, it does look like a very good trade to the downside, because we are forming lower highs and price is slightly squeezing with a trend line in that moving average. So if we do hold that area, I'm definitely favoring a move to the downside for GPNZD back into that support, and then maybe even a break through that support depending how bearish we are, and see if we do have enough momentum needed to go and break through that support. But it does look like a good position there for GPNZD shorts. Again, looking at that pair there, so yeah, looking like we're forming lower highs. This could be a third lower high of this kind of formation here, and if it does respect that, we should see a nice fall to the downside. Obviously if price was to retrace, turn around and break through this previous high here in the market, then that'll probably invalidate the setup and price might look a lot bullish after that and might change my bias a little bit. But currently right now it's not. We're getting some nice bearish price action there on the 4H, so yeah, favoring a nice move to the downside for GPNZD, so it looks like a good trade for that one. GPAUD, which does move similar to GPNZD as well. Again, this pair however not as clean as GPNZD. You can see here on the daily the kind of price action is very, very choppy and very all over the place. So again, not looking to trade this pair. It does not look clean at all. We're back at that same resistance, same area of supply where we're seeing that push to the downside. You can see nice fall to the downside again at that area, nice push to the downside again at that area. So again, just simple support and resistance there. Can look for those shorts around this area, but again, because of that daily price action does not look clean at all and doesn't really map out a clear direction for me, so I'm not going to be getting involved in GPAUD right now. But if you're just looking to capture some few pips from a nice area of resistance where we do expect to see a bounce, GPAUD might be a pair that could give you that bounce to the downside, just because we're coming to that key level. The daily looks a little bit overextended, but because we are moving sideways, we do expect to see a reaction at that level and a move to the downside. We might not see a push all the way back to these lows here, might see a push halfway or maybe even a little bit further, But yeah, not really looking to get involved in GPAUD since the pair is just very choppy on the daily. I like having a bit more clarity on the daily to take into the lower time frames. And right now, I'm just not seeing any of that on GPAUD. So we'll stay out of that. But GPND, however, does look a lot cleaner. And looks like we could be in for a nice move to the downside for GPND. So that looks like a good trade there. Going to take a look at some of the other AD pairs. So we're going to look at ADCHF. ADCHF, again, for this pair, 4H, a little bit messy there. Looking at this from a daily, okay, slightly trending to the downside here. Is losing a lot of steam though, so that is something to take note. But again, not seeing very many opportunities here either. Jumping on the hourly, very, very choppy price action. Yeah, so not going to look to get involved in ADCHF at all as well. We are just losing that momentum to the downside, so it is indicating that potentially we might see a push to the upside. But again, I'm not seeing a clear setup to take advantage of that move there. So we'll move along of ADCHF, not really seeing much happening there. CAD-JPY. CAD-JPY is still looking very, very bullish here. As you can see, for the past 1, 2, maybe even 3 weeks, CAD-JPY has just been pushing to the upside relentlessly, pretty much. You can see there on the daily price is still looking very bullish, pushing to the upside. So again, not really looking to get involved in some shorts here, even though I do think reduce and retrace the downside now for CAD-JPY. I'm not really looking to take advantage of those shorts just yet. I want a lot more clearer price action. You can see on the hourly chart, kind of getting this consolidation there. A lot of choppy price action, a lot of wicks coming around. So yeah, not really looking to get involved in CAD-JPY right now. Maybe if it was to clear up, we can get involved in some shorts and take advantage of that retrace that we do expect to see sooner or later for CAD-JPY. But again, not really seeing the best opportunity to get involved there. Again, look at the 4H. That 4H time frame is still very bullish there as well. So yeah, won't be looking to get involved in CAD-JPY until it gives me a little bit more development there and clearer price action. Hey William, hope you're all right. If you're in any trades, or if you want to look at any different charts, or you're interested in a certain chart to trade, just let me know. We'll take a look at it together, see if we can get any analysis on those pairs going. But yeah, welcome to the live stream. I hope you're doing well. Okay, so I'm going to look at EUR/GBP. So EUR/GBP surprised me again yesterday. Wasn't expecting to see such strength in the pound, but as you can see, EUR/GBP absolutely fell to the downside pretty much as the market opened. You can see on the 4H we had that gap in the market there, so that's obviously where the market opened on Sunday evening, and after that we kind of just dropped to the downside quite aggressively, creating new lows there. So it looks like EUR/GBP is slowly forming this kind of bowl shape. Looking at this on the daily, so you can see we have this big push to the upside, slight retracement, big push, slight retracement, failing to push higher, giving us a lower high there, and push through, making a lower low past that level there in the market. So I do think my bias is slowly changing to the downside for EUR/GBP, and we could be seeing a push all the way into this kind of area here in the market. So with that information there, looking at that from the daily, taking that to the lower time frames, you can see 4H will push to the upside. Looks like we're retracing some of that move, and if we do get maybe a bearish price action or some sort of confirmation or signal that we could be turning back around, turning bearish again, could be taking advantage of some shorts for EUR/GBP and seeing some further continuation, because I do think we'll see a lot more pound strength. I think GBUSD and GBJPY are still on their way up. So again, with that in mind, we should see EUR/GBP fall to the downside again, especially taking up those key levels there in the market. So bias is to the downside now for EUR/GBP, but again, want a little bit more development there, a bit more retracement, then can take a look to see how that potentially could get on there in the market. Going to see how EUR/JPY is doing. So EUR/JPY, this pair is still looking bullish. Again, GBJPY again does move similar to this pair, is still looking bullish as well. So price is still pushing on back to the highs up there, and potentially could go a little bit further. if I jump on the hourly time frame, you can see price is still pushing on there as well. So yeah, it looks like price is back to highs here. Again, for me to get involved, I want a little bit more retracement there on the 4H. Didn't get involved here, but again, it would be a nice area to get involved there. As you can see, price has had that pullback, and I was seeing that continuation. And looks like we're seeing some more continuation to the upside. And again, looking at the higher time frames, daily, weekly, we're still very much in a bullish trend here in this market. So price looks like it's exploding to the upside. Not really interested in any sells just yet, so we'll be seeing if we can take advantage of some retrace, but again, it's not really giving any good opportunity to short that. So yeah, looking for those buys for your GPY, but right now it's still pushing on. Not looking to get involved just yet for that pair. So I'm going to sit on the sidelines and see if we can get a bit more development there. Sorry, I don't think I've got the DXY on my MT4. I do have on my trading view platform, but I don't have it on my MT4, so I can't look at the DXY currently when using the MT4. But my bias on the DXY is very much to the downside anyway, so I'm expecting the DXY to fall, but again, we might see some retracement to the upside, but I do expect further continuation to the downside, because I am mainly expecting to see more weakness on the US dollar. So biases to the downside for the DXY, and yeah, expecting to see more weakness for the US dollar. So with all that information, I do expect to see AUD going up, Euro USD going up, GP USD going up, USD CAD going down, USD going down, and USD going down. So yeah, bias is to the downside for the DXY. So all those pairs I do expect to go up with that US dollar weakness coming into the market. Next, we're going to take a look at some of the Euro pairs. We're going to take a look at Euro AUD. Okay, so yeah, Euro AUD, very, very choppy. Similar to GP AUD in a way. You can see the price action on the daily is similar to GP AUD in terms of being very, very corrective, very sideways, not giving us a very clear overview of where price could go. We were slightly trending to the upside, as you can see on the daily, has a slight trend line there in the market. It looks like price is starting to break through it now. So it looks like we might be turning a little bit bearish here, but again, the price action is awful in my opinion. There's a lot more clearer pairs out there to trade than Euro AUD. We are forming lower highs, lower lows, so again, my bias is to the downside, so only looking for sells here. We have pushed up, looks like we're running out of steam, so from an hourly perspective, looks like we could see a move to the downside, but again, isn't the clearest pair. Again, even looking at the daily as well, doesn't have much information to take into the lower time frame, so not looking to get involved in Euro AUD, but if I was to, it would be to the downside. My bias is definitely to the downside for this pair. Yeah, we'll look on GP CAD. Okay, so GP CAD on the daily. So yeah, GP CAD came back to a key area of support in the market. Again, we came into a very key area of support on the weekly as well. So just zoom in, you can see here on the weekly key level support around 1.68434. We have come back into that area, and then we tapped into it. I've seen some bullish reactions there on the daily, pushing to the upside. So with this one, again, I don't think the risk to reward is quite there for GP CAD going along on the daily, because you do have a key level not too far from you, which is this area here. Actually, if I use the highlighter, probably be a little bit more clearer. This kind of key area of support, which is not too far from you, which will cause a bit of struggle for your trade to go long, because again, you can see really key area of support throughout here, support, and we haven't actually gone to retest that area, so we are pushing to the upside. So I do favor GP CAD to push on. Again, we're seeing a lot of GBP strength coming to the market, so that could help GP CAD going along there on the daily. But again, this area of resistance here, former support was term resistance now, could send the trade against you. So I'm not seeing the risk to reward there as in making the trade that worthwhile, because if you were to take this trade, you could push to the upside. Again, a good amount of pips, maybe about 80 to 90 pips to the upside into that zone, but then your stop loss would have to be below that previous candle there, which is around 270. So the risk to reward might not be there, so it might not be the best trade. If that was to retrace and give you another price action, another bullish confirmation, could look to get involved then. But again, I'm not really seeing the risk to reward there. But if it does break through that, of course the trade can go a lot further to the upside, but again, you're coming into some resistance, so that might not be the best position there in terms of risk to reward, even though we'll come into a very key level on the weekly, which we do expect to see a bounce from to the upside. But with that level there might cause a bit of a problem for your trade. But of course, if price was to break through that, it'll probably really open your trade up and see price go a lot further in your direction. But just have to take into account that level, that it could potentially send price down against you there for GBCAD. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Taking off some positions there, because it does look like we're having that bounce from that weekly level, but we're coming into that daily level there. That could cause a little bit of problem. So yeah, taking off profit around that area does make a lot of sense. So, and if it does go and break through that level as well, the other half you do leave on could really let price capture you those pips if it does go and break through that level, of course. And GBCHF as well. GBCHF for this one on the daily, again, yeah, I'm definitely throwing a push to the upside for this pair. Price looks like it's failing to take out that low in the market. If I just clear up the chart for a second. Okay, so we definitely got this level here in the market that price is failing to break through, and looks like it is on its way to push to the upside, because if it's failing to break through the support, it's got to break through something, and it looks like it's taking out that resistance. So price there on the daily, you've had a kind of corrective nature there of price pushing down after that big impulsive move to the downside not too long ago. Price is very corrective, failing to push through, and then we've had this big kind of morning star there in the market with that bearish candle, the doji, and then the bullish candle yesterday closing, and now we're seeing that continuation to the upside there on the 4H. Like I did say earlier, we had that key level of resistance, which prices just had a very strong close just over that level there on the 4H on the daily. So looking at this from a daily point of view, it's looking like this one's got a lot more mileage than the GBCAD setup, because if this one does play out, I think GBPCHF could potentially move all the way to these highs all the way up here. So yeah, I'm seeing a lot more mileage to the upside for GBPCHF, and this looks like quite a good trade if that support does fail to break through, and we do have that break of the resistance down the 4H. I think we could see a nice continuation to the upside. Again, we do have slightly a 4-hour level that you probably should take note of, which is this kind of level of resistance, because this is kind of like the last swing high that pushed us to the downside. So if you do go and take that level out, which is around 1.28, then your trade will probably really kick off to the upside. But yeah, looking at the trade from a daily point of view, does have a lot of mileage to the upside for that pair. Yeah, so it looks like GBCHF looks good, GBCAD looks good as well, but again, that key level could cause a bit of struggle. But yeah, GBCHF definitely looks like it's got some mileage to the upside, and it looks like it's breaking through some 4-hourly levels though. So GBCHF does look good, and potentially could see price back at highs if that GP strength does keep up in the markets there. So it looks good for GBCHF for that trade. Yeah, Sniper FX will take a look at GBJPY right now. Okay, so GBJPY, like I did say earlier, we had this big push to the upside right now. It does look like price is starting to consolidate. Looking at this on the 4H, looking at this on the hourly. Again, my bias for GBJPY is still very much to the upside. I still do see this pair pushing into around the 155 level. We've just gone and hit 154. So creating new highs from yesterday. So we're just going to hit 154, and I do think 155 is the next target for GBJPY. So I do still see further upside movement for this pair. Right now, again, we're getting a lot of that sideways price action. Looking at the 30-minute there in the market. So again, it's not looking the best as in for opportunities. Like I did say earlier, I wanted to see GBJPY fall to the downside a little bit more before pushing up again, but if price does consolidate for a long period of time, like throughout the rest of the day, maybe we could actually see an explosive push to the upside again and push to that 155 area. But yeah, GBJPY, I did say I want to see a bit more retracement, and if it does, could look to buy it then. But right now we're getting that consolidation, that range. Not seeing many opportunities there. Maybe if you trade in the low time frames, you can take advantage of some of those fluctuations, but looking at the 15, 30, I'm not seeing much there happening for GBJPY. So looking for those buys, or if you're looking for those sells, you need a little more to happen there for price action to clear up, give you some opportunities, then can let to get involved in buying or selling that pair. If you're looking to sell, you're probably taking advantage of the retrace. If you're looking to buy, probably wait for that retrace to happen and then look to capitalize on a continuation to the upside there for GBJPY. But yeah, like I said, my bias is to the upside for this pair. So if I do see a move to the downside, we'll treat that as retrace in order for me to get some potential longs to take this higher. But right now, I'm not seeing much happening here for JPY, just moving sideways throughout this London session. So will not look to get involved there, but like I said, my bias is the upside for that pair. Nice, William, nice. Is that on the daily as well? Because if it is, that trade should have really kicked off yesterday on Monday and potentially go a lot higher. So like I said, yeah, I do expect to see 155 reach for GBJPY potentially by the end of the week, maybe even the next couple of days. So yeah, probably keep some positions on for that. So nice. So yeah, I do expect to see further upside continuation for GBJPY. So yeah, probably don't want to take all your profit off too quickly, because it could be one of those trades where you just let run, see what it does, maybe try your stop loss or something, using moving average or whatever you use, because this one does have some mileage to the upside. So it looks like a good position there on GBJPY, and no problem there, Sniper FX. Yeah, I could imagine that GP strength just came as soon as the market opened, really, because you can see there on the daily chart, small gap there. If I go in the 4 hourly, you probably see a little better. So yeah, a gap there in the market in the 4H, and price just shot to the upside there. So I was looking to get involved in some buys there for GBJPY, GPUSD as well this week, but as you can see, the market pretty much just opened and just flew to the upside, so I did not get involved in any of those moves there for the pound. But although just wait for another opportunity to come around the corner and let's capitalize on that one. But yeah, pound JPY and pound USD were flying to the upside yesterday. Looks like they're having a bit of retrace, starting to range a little bit, rest after that big move, which is expected. But yeah, I'm not seeing too much happening on GPUSD, and like I said, not seeing too much happen on GBJPY either. So I can let those pairs breathe a little bit so you can get a bit more clarity, then get involved on some buys on those pairs. And anyone else in any different trades as well, just let me know. We'll take a look at them, see how they're going. Again, no judgment here. If they're losing or they're winning, no judgment here. We're just going to see how they're getting on. And yeah, if any of you looking at any different pairs or looking to trade some pairs, not even today, maybe during the late of the week, just let me know, and we'll take a look at them and analyze those pairs. I don't think we looked at the NZD pairs, so we're going to see how they're getting on as well. So NZD-JPY for this one still looking bullish as well. So again, moves similar to AUD-JPY, this pair, and I did say AUD-JPY, our bias is to the upside. So looks like NZD-JPY is following suit as well. So you can see there on the daily, I think we just create some new highs with that wick of yesterday's candle. So yeah, we have. So yeah, we're creating some new highs. I do see more upside potential for this pair. You can see on the 4H, nice bullish engulfing. Looks like we're pushing onto the upside after that. So yeah, do expect to see more upside potential for these pairs, back to highs and potentially even further, maybe to the 80 mark for NZD-JPY. Right now we're trading around 79,286, so yeah, 80 sounds very reasonable for this pair to push on to around those highs there. NZD-USD, we did look at this one before. I did say I wanted a bit more retracement, but again, still looking very bullish. So that could push on without me. It doesn't have to retrace further to the downside just because I want to get in some buys. It could push on from wherever it wants to, and it does look like it's pushing on now. We still could get that retracement lower, but it's still looking quite bullish here. Looking at the hourly, looking at the 30-minute. Price is still looking quite bullish there, so if it wants to, it probably could push on back to highs again for NZD-USD and see a lot more NZD pairs having that strength there in the market. Yes, sure, we'll take a look at CAD-JPY. So yeah, like I said, for CAD-JPY, we've had a big push to the upside recently, and I do expect to see some retracement now for this pair, because if I just go on the daily quickly, you can see we had this big push to the upside. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've seen 9 bullish candles in a row there. So we are definitely due some retracement. We've created some new highs. We're coming into weekly, monthly resistance now. I do think we'll see some weakness from CAD-JPY to the downside. I'm not saying we're getting a reversal. So again, if you are looking for those shorts, maybe don't hold them for the trade for too long. But I definitely think CAD-JPY is going to see a push to the downside first before we do see continuations to the upside there. So yeah, I am favouring for CAD-JPY to push to the downside and just some retrace. And then you could look to capitalize on that. Hourly starting to look a little bit bearish. 30 minutes starting to look a little bit bearish there as well. So yeah, can take a look at take advantage of that move. But for me right now, all this price action is very sideways, so I want a little bit more clarity before looking to get involved there for CAD-JPY. But yeah, CAD-JPY sells that I do think is on. We're starting to fail to break through that resistance there around the 90 mark. So we're hitting a key psychological level there around 90, which price is failing to break through. So yeah, it is coming to an area where you do expect to see CAD-JPY fall. But like I said, the price action is not that clear for me, and I want to see clearer price action before getting involved. But yeah, I'm favouring to see a push to the downside for CAD-JPY, but we'll wait for a little bit more clarity there in the market. So yeah, currently in that 80 CAD position, which is pushing on quite nicely now. I want to see price take out that previous high there on the 4H, go in the hourly, push down. I want to see price take out this previous high around here, which is around 0.95495. So if price can take out that level, I think this 80 CAD position can really start to push on a lot further and really see price take off in my direction to the upside, which still does have quite a few pips till it gets there. And again, of course, it could turn around before it gets there, but if it does take up that area, which is around 50 to 60 pips away, I think this 80 CAD trade could really push on and start to see some mileage behind it, because potentially price could go a lot further to the upside there. Yeah, you have to have a lot of patience with him trading on the daily time frame there. But again, daily time frame can be very, very effective and a good time frame to trade, just because it's the higher time frames and your stop losses have to be a lot bigger. I feel like daily, if you do have patience, of course, can be a really good time frame, because you do take advantage of all those big moves in the market, because again, you're already in the trade from a daily point of view. So when you see a big push in the market, you're normally in the trade for those moves. So can really be a good way to swing the markets from a daily time frame. Again, you probably just have to adapt your position size when you're trading the daily, because again, your stop loss could be 100, 200 pips. You just got to reduce your position size to take advantage of those pips there. But yeah, daily is a good time frame to trade if you do have the patience, of course. Okay, so you can take a look at CHF JPY. Another JPY pair. Looks like that one's pushing to the downside as well. So yeah, we've seen JPY, a lot of JPY weakness. I still do feel like we can see more JPY weakness. So like pound JPY, still see that moving up higher. Euro JPY, still see that moving up higher. AD JPY, still see that moving up higher. NZD JPY, still see that moving up higher. So yeah, I do expect to see more JPY weakness come into the markets there. Looks like CHF JPY is starting to fall to the downside in a bit of retracement of the bullish momentum we've seen in the past few days. Also, which is expected, similar with CAD JPY as well, but you can see some retracement to the downside. You can see we just had quite a bearish close there on that hourly time frame, that bearish shooting star. So we can expect to see a little bit more continuation to the downside. But again, like I said, it's just retracement. I'm not saying we're getting a reversal for this pair just yet. Any move we see to the downside is likely to just to be retracement, which could get us involved in some buys later on. So I'm aware of that, but CAD JPY, CHF JPY, I'm favouring a slight movement to the downside here, which again, just probably retracement, but it is long overdue after seeing these big pushes to the upside for a lot of bullish momentum. We are likely to start to see some retracement after that before we do get back involved there. Yeah, that is very true, William, very true. If you do take advantage of these moves down the daily, basically all you're looking for is just basically runners. So like capturing the trade at the start, seeing which one works, seeing which one doesn't work. If you get a good runner, it can really just bank you in the profit, and you don't really have to worry too much about it, because you're just going to see how far that trade can really take you, really. And it's probably less stress as well, because you're not worrying too much about the success of the trade. You're just waiting for that to catch that runner. When that runner happens, you know it should take care of your losses when you do have them. So yeah, if you do it correctly with the patience, daily is a very, very effective chart to trade. Rosa, which pair are you talking about? Are you talking about CHF JPY, CAD JPY? Yeah, how long have you been trading the daily chart, William? Are you new to it, or you've been doing it for a few months? Yeah, it's true. With the daily chart, you're not affected with the news, really, because your stop loss is 100 or 200 pips. So if the news moves 40, 50, 60, 70 pips, it doesn't really worry you too much when you're trading that daily time frame. So yeah, it does have a lot of pros to it. Obviously, trading on the low time frames, you get more opportunities, but sometimes less is more in the forex market. You don't want to take too many trades at the same time. You don't want to take not enough, but daily, when used correctly, can be very, very effective when done. Okay, nice, William. Oh, let me know how it goes. Let me know how it goes. Interested to find out. Because I personally don't really go above the 4H. But again, I understand the pros and cons of trading the day. I have traded the daily before. But yeah, currently right now I don't really go past the 4H as an entry time frame. So But yeah, the daily time frame does have a lot of pros if you do have the patience to trade it, of course. So yeah, currently in my AUD CAD position, going to see how that gets on. So you can get a push back to those previous highs around 0.5495 to see you get a push into that level, break through it, and if it does, this trade can really push on and get some mileage behind it. But yeah, just looking for those buy stop loss below that previous low, and then see if you can get a push into some new highs. Looking at this from a 4H and a daily perspective. Yeah, so Euro USD again, yeah, it did have a big push to the upside there. So yeah, price action was quite big there. Again, NFP did affect that. Normally, probably wouldn't have seen such a big candle close, but NFP did cause a big push to the upside, breaking through those recent highs there in the market. So yeah, price action was probably a little bit, the candle size was probably a little bit too big again, because your risk to reward might have been affected a little bit there. So maybe not the best trade, but again, trade opportunities are around the corner, so no biggie really. I still do feel USD is going back to the highs, back to 1.23, so there'll definitely be another opportunity to get involved in Euro USD buys sooner or later, maybe by next week. From a daily point of view, you could look to get involved, so not too much to worry about. I still do feel, because again, if Euro USD is going back to highs, and we still do have about 200 pips or so to the upside to take advantage of. So yeah, definitely going to expect some retracement for Euro USD sooner or later, and that does mean you can get involved in some longs to the upside there. So yeah, opportunity will probably come sooner or later for Euro USD, so not too much to worry there. Yeah, I do have a Telegram group actually where we can share our analysis on, so I will put a link to that in the live chat, because I already do have a group where people can share their analysis with me and take a look at different pairs together. So I will put a link to that chat there in the live chat, but yeah, I do already have that. So feel free to join, of course, if you want to join. But yeah, we can share analysis together in there. Because again, a lot of us trade different styles. Some people look to trade in the 15, and of course, some people look to trade on the daily. But at the end of the day, we're taking advantage of the same moves, whether smaller or bigger, and all we're trying to do is make some profit. So can really help each other out by doing that. Yeah, still very bullish here. I feel like you probably could have left some positions on there, William, for AUDUSD, because I think for this one we're still on our way back to high 0.8. Of course, you manage to trade how you want to manage it. I'm not going to tell you how to manage it, but I feel like for this one, price action is still very bullish. Again, the weekly, looking at the daily, looking at the 4H, I feel like we're on our way back to 0.8 there for AUDUSD. So maybe could have for this one left a little bit on there to trickle, but of course, if you felt like you needed to close a trade according to your plan, according to your strategy, then you close that trade. But yeah, AUSD looks like it was a good trade to begin with, of course, because you did have that push to the upside from this kind of consolidation here in the market, and even from that support down there, depending on where you got involved in that trade, of course. But yeah, it did look like a nice push to the upside. It did take its time probably for you because of that consolidation there, but of course it still did push to the upside. So well done, good trade there for AUSD. But I still feel like this pair could have a little bit more mileage to the upside, because currently I'm looking to buy AUSD. I'm waiting for a bit more retracement to the downside to around that 0.78 area. Then if we do get some nice price action formation, bullish formation, we'll look to get involved in some buys. Now we'll be targeting 0.8, which is that recent high, all the way up there, and potentially even further, depending how bullish